is it's known that that's not the case, but we could certainly consider removing the entire whereas.
My concern is if we're approving this month after month, that if I raise my hand and say I'm good with this, this is a misstatement of the facts.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my concern is. And I have 3 concerns actually from this, based on what it says. And I do understand it's just kind of rolled on month to month, but as things have changed over the last 2 weeks, and we're not pumping from the wells, we're pumping from the lake, because there is one here that says we're deriving all our money from all our water from the emergency wells, which is indeed not true.
Let's get those exact paragraphs and we'll just take them out.
Paragraph.
That would have been it.
Paragraph.
We would have removed those.
Can you read the paragraph for me?
We're page 104, bottom line, next to the bottom.
Well, I've got 3 paragraphs. We'll start at the top. Whereas the district has determined that the remaining water supply in Lake McClure.
That one is to be removed? Is that what we're...
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yes, because I just can't say yes.
Okay.
The second one is, whereas state and federal restrictions have prohibited the district from pumping water from its primary Lake McClure water supply.
Got it.
We are pumping from McClure now, so that is a misstatement.
Okay.
And the third being, whereas the district's current water supply is only derived from the emergency wells.
Okay.
Again, we're not on the wells. And that was my
Right,
only
from the emergency wells. I would say modifying that one from the
Yeah,
emergency wells. And
I don't know how we can go about
We can
this.
change the motion to approve items A and C with the modifications.
Leaving
To
out
the
those 3
resolution.
paragraphs.
Yes.
leaving out the 2 and amending the 3rd to be having it be surface water and the groundwater wells. The emergency wells and surface water are a source of supply.
Okay.
And if that's amended, I'll accept, because I made the motion.
Okay.
But when you take that out,
That's my concern. If you take that out, are we still in that emergency status? Are we still meeting the requirements of the states to declare that emergency status? And that's where I'm stuck. If we take it out, the state might say, sorry, you don't qualify anymore. You can't do this anymore. So we have to be very careful as the direction we go with this.
last month, when you said if we did not approve this ordinance, what do you call it, then it would put something in jeopardy. By not approving this, what would happen? What would be in jeopardy? If we did
Well, at this point, because it's a good point because I can be really specific about it. Right now, we already have the contractor who is under general contract with the district, and he has an approved scope of work to install the pipeline, and that is in the budget for reimbursement through the grant. Okay. And he's proceeding with that construction. It's already going forward and everything else.
Reimbursable expense.
Reimbursable expense, exactly. There remains the fencing and the SCADA work, and both of those now, because of the limited scope of the remaining work, they're separate contracts because they're not, we don't have a general contractor doing both of those. We have a contractor doing the SCADA and we have a contractor doing the fence. Okay? So in reality, if you did not continue this, I would be contracting in the same manner because at this point, I've got less than 2 weeks to get the fence done, and I would not go through a competitive bidding process for such a small project because we have the uniform construction cost accounting. It's $175 for informal bids. Informal bids even would take too long. Mm-hmm. So as long as it's less than $45,000, we could do the negotiated contract, which is what we're doing. The problem is the SCADA contract in total for all of the wells is more than the $45,000. So it would require, under our uniform construction cost accounting, if we didn't declare this, then I would have to follow your policy and the accounting acts to do informal bids for that SCADA work, and they've already been, well, they're already contracted.
I was
to
gonna say,
build
it sounds like they're contracted if
They're-
they're building it right
They're already
now.
building it. We could probably do without it and be safe. If you're really concerned about it, what
Well,
we're doing is
I'm concerned
we're,
about the verbiage, and me
Yeah.
raising my hand to put my stamp of approval on that
Right.
verbiage,
Yeah.
it's just, it's not
2 months.
in line with.
it could go, my recommendation to you would be that this continues, the completion of construction continues to be part of the water supply emergency that started over a year ago. We set on, when this was adopted initially, we set on a course of action to get the project done in a certain manner. To change that in the last month would just look weird. We can amend the resolution and even bring it back if you wanted to just hold off. And we could, because it could be cleaned up.
I'm sorry, we don't have to do this each month.
It's every month you're supposed to declare that it continues to exist under the contract code. So that, under the public contract code, okay? It's not normal to have the project broken down into pieces where we're contracting it out to a bunch of different subcontractors, basically. So it's a one-size-fits-all requirement in the public contract code, that's all. And we're trying to make this fit on the fly. If you did nothing on it and just tabled this until next month, I'm still going to proceed with what I'm doing under the emergency resolution, but we could get the language to read more to liking.
I wasn't here last month, but the month before, when we talked about this, you said if we didn't pass it, it would jeopardize the USDA loan because it had to be under emergency mode because that was an emergency grant that we got. Is that still the case? Or not?
This is not tied to the requirements of USDA. This is not tied to the requirements of the state grants.
Mhm.
This is tied to the requirement that it would normally take 3 years to get this project done.
I understand.
Okay? It would have normally taken, a year to design it and go through a full environmental review for the entire project, and then you would go out for competitive bid, and then you'd already get the contract.
So-
Maybe 2 years instead of 1.
So continuing, the very last item in here, would that be affected by, if we didn't approve that today? The well item, that's the very last item in here, if we didn't approve this. The one for well one.
Well, he's wondering.
Work being done if I want.
Does that affect that?
No, not really, because I would contract for the maintenance item anyway, just under our policy and under our budget, to get a look at it, what's going on. It's the second phase of the project, if there are some major improvements. No, I'm not going to treat that one under this resolution. It won't affect that
So
one at all.
what you're
That's
basically
separate.
saying is the Ranchita well will not be under the umbrella of a grant.
Yeah, it's not an emergency. For the purposes of contracting, it's not an emergency.
It wasn't a grant, it was the limit of $45,000.
Yeah.
It's 8,030 and plus 35, right? There's 35,000.
It's only an
It's
estimate.
two, I know, I'm just saying, but that exceeds 25,000, if you go back, if you're not using the contract code.
Well, we've adopted the Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Procedures, so it's 45,000.
Okay, so we're under that, so I guess I'm confused then, what is the reason for doing this?
This is related to well number 2,
Okay,
the fence on well number 2,
okay.
that's occurring this week, basically. It's for the SCADA that's already under contract, and it's for the pipeline that's already under contract. I mean, the fence is under contract, it's just, it hasn't been started, it could always be stopped. That's why, as we talked about this, if you delayed to next month to get a more acceptable language,
No,
that
there isn't.
that I'm just gonna proceed, the project's gonna be done, you'll consider a resolution, and you might not even need it at that point.
There's a little confusion, real quick. All this does is give us emergency contracting thing. It really doesn't apply to the grants or anything. It's our method of contracting the work. This was fast track versus the other methods. So all we're really talking about is we started this, we're really close to ending it.
Yes.
So this just is the method we use to contract. Really doesn't have anything to do with
Raises the limit,
specific
though,
work.
doesn't it? 45 and 25.
If I
Not
can,
this,
Hold on.
Okay.
not this. Okay, this, because the limit is already raised.
Okay.
You elected to be subject to the Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Procedures.
Okay.
So for projects, I go out and get an estimate. If that estimate, including administrative expense, exceeds $45,000, I have to go to informal bids.
Okay.
If the estimate exceeds $175,000, including administrative costs, I have to go to formal bids.
What was it?
Formal bids
Run that
require,
number by me one more time.
what's that?
What was that number one more time?
175,000. If we go to formal bids, that means that you have to have your project designed to the point where when you award the contract to your contractor, the goal is that they know everything that they've got to build, every rock they've got to turn, every depth, everything is crossed and dotted in advance. Otherwise, you get change orders. They'll come in as a low bidder because you have to award it to the lowest bidder, and then they'll give you change orders, and you don't construct, sometimes you can't control it, so you got to think it all the way through. That's why the design takes longer and is more expensive, and then your bidding process in a competitive bid environment is, can take 90 days from the time that you approve going to bid to the time that you award the contract. So it's a timing thing. That's why these were anticipated as not controversial, because we'd already gone down that path. We're already going. I'm just submitting this as a procedural requirement, but I understand the concern with the language. If the board is okay with it, we could move forward. We can take a motion with the amended language, in other words, removing the 2 paragraphs and revising the one that calls out where we are receiving our water supply. And then this will probably be the last time you'll ever see it on your agenda.
I'm good with that if somebody actually reads it from one end to the other and make sure the continuity that it makes sense.
Yeah, it's just been continued varying through up and down lake levels and different levels of water conservation and different costs of construction and everything else.
so I would like to withdraw the motion, my motion, if it's okay with this person that seconded it out here. I saw this myself earlier too, and I was going to ask about it, but we can withdraw the motion and table it for now and come back and if we have to deal with it next month.
If we have remaining construction work for the next board meeting on the 16th or the 21st, and that work would require something that would kill the schedule, then it will be back on your agenda. If not, then it's done.
Okay. So I would like to table this.
So we do want to make a motion to support the treasurer's report.
Makes sense.
So I'll make the motion to approve the treasurer's report and table this.
Okay, approve the treasurer's report.
And table item C until the June meeting.
Table item C.
That was a healthy discussion.
And is there a,
Second.
do you want to continue the second on that, Emery, or someone else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Public comment?